Welcome, beautiful people, to Friday Night Lights on Air, brought to you by the students of the game. The class begins now.
Let's do it.
I'm your host, Gentry, Neese, joined here by my brother-in-arms, Jett Wilson. And don't adjust your camera, folks. We can't afford a makeup and hair artist. He's just that handsome.
That Gentry's too kind. Too kind.
Jett, what's our feel? We're not as electric feeling today as last week. What's your gut feeling coming after that Friday Night Lights?
Yeah, not as electric. Didn't go our way tonight, but
that happens. That's life, right?
It's week 2. It's early in the season.
It's still not even conference play. It's not even conference
play. It's not time to give up on the boys yet. It's not time to give up on the season. There's a lot of games.
If anything, I think the way they fought tonight should be encouraging.
Exactly.
We're going to go play by play just like last time. Before we do, thank you for making us your home for Williamson County High School football. If you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe. We're also available on Spotify and Apple Music. If you just look up Friday Night Lights on Air, it'll pop up. And we also have a Students of the Game Instagram handle, the students-of-the-game, the-game. All of our information, one hub about the Instagram, Jett.
Yep. Instagram will be an easy place you can get to everything. So you don't have to go through looking and scrolling through YouTube. Instagram will be a place that's all the things.
We want to make sure we represent the boys as many places as we can. So, Jett, let's get right into it. No better place to start, in my opinion. We're going to start at the first play. Where else to start? Right at the beginning of the book, you're going to read the first page. We're going to start with the first play. We get a false start, first play, right? Still a lot of noise. First away game for the boys, you know what I mean? Crowd noise is getting into it. That backs us up. We go 3 and out. We punt the ball. Gives FRA good field position, and they drive they drive down to the goal line, and we end up getting an interception. What FRA did was they had a very interesting play. They lined up kind of twins. Twins had 2 receivers out to the right. They kind of shifted the inside guy out and kind of ran him off, and then ran this guy on a little out route, kind of out route or corner route, and then rolled out the quarterback to try to get it to him in space. But the reason that's a good play call, a good play design, is because when that motion happens, you're hoping that the corners, they don't switch it off correctly.
Right.
And so 2 people jump on one, leaving one person wide open. But I believe it was Luke Thompson and Jay Little. They switched it off beautifully. Right. Luke Thompson makes a great play. He doesn't quite snatch it out of the air with one hand like he did last time, but he did tip the ball up. Jay Little gets an interception. But Jett, what happens?
Penalty on the play. And see, this first drive sets the themes for the game.
Okay, Jett, talk to me about the themes of the game. Then talk to me about the themes.
Number 1, the way it started, field position.
Mm-hmm.
Franklin was playing from behind all night.
Mm-hmm.
You saw FRA starting around midfield almost every single possession.
I would say the first 2 possessions, they started at the 40 and 45.
Yeah.
Franklin's 40 and 45.
Already in our territory, which is, I don't think it's stressed enough how big field position is. And if you look at Franklin, we're starting around the 20 every time. So we got to go 80 yards to score.
They're only going 40 or 45, right?
And so that was something that continuously happened all night, which was not the special team's fault. It was just us getting behind the chains. We're not getting first downs.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of just how the game flowed.
Right. And also, the other thing.
Yeah, talk to me about the penalties.
Mustard on the lettuce.
Mustard on the lettuce, right? Jett came up with that, right? That's what I know that just talent.
We don't have a box score in front of us.
No.
I know Frank.
I would love to see a box score. I would love to see a box score. And I would even argue that, and it happens, right? But I don't know how many of those 100 yards would be justified and are called every game. But what we do want to mention, obviously for the players fighting, but their theme was the penalties, and we're going to go through that all night. But another theme was we loved when those penalties were called and they weren't justified. The Franklin High School fans let the refs hear them, right? They were, if you were there, we were both there in the stands. We could see, we were standing in the back, so we could see everything. They let the refs hear their voice. They were not let them they were judge, jury, and executioner. Okay, I wouldn't necessarily say that they were 12 people of our peers. They weren't the friendly jury, and I loved it. I thought it was a great energy. Would you agree with that?
I thought it was fantastic. I thought last week it was lacking. I thought this week the fans brought it. Getting loud on third down. And I don't think the fans also know how big of an impact that can play in the game.
100%.
NFL, grown men getting affected by a loud stadium. And if you don't think you can get into a 16, 17-year-old's head with thousands of people watching,
screaming, clapping, you know what I mean?
You can, and the fans can have an impact on the game. So calling the fans out. Let's even up it next game.
I
We
love
got a home game, big game, paid at home. But tonight was awesome. Much better than last week. And I think that the traveling crew is probably a little different than the
I love it, though. Hey, even smaller in numbers, but they were bringing it. Absolutely.
It can have a direct impact.
It can. I think the most famous was that one a couple years ago, Shea Patterson, Jim Harbaugh of Michigan traveled to Penn State. They line up for the first play of the game. Penn State's doing a wideout. They're playing. Mo Bamba is blasting on the speakers.
Yeah.
The student section's going crazy. And on the first play of the game, the Michigan players couldn't even hear that they got a delay of game on the first play of the game. You've had hours to prepare. They get a delay game for the first play of the game. It really does have an impact. So love that. That's going to be our themes for the night. So like you said, let's just jump back in. Jay Little gets an interception. Fans are going crazy. There was a roughing the passer on the play that gives an automatic first down in half the distance to the goal.
And we've gone back and watched the stream of the game.
Yeah.
Very questionable.
It's a questionable call. It's a questionable call. And again, that's kind of one of the themes, right?
Another thing. Questionable calls, dude.
we have good themes, don't we?
Rest were down on our side.
Yeah, no, and it was the home field advantage. We're gonna get into that as well, but this time they did not matter. Why? Because of that Donnie Webb defense. So they then get 4 plays. They go first and goal, second and goal, third and goal, and fourth and goal, trying to get in, and that Donnie Webb defense stops them. Turnover on downs. What was your thoughts? Huge stop, huge. I mean, because we get the train momentum of the penalty, and you think, oh, they're going to cave. No, they stand strong.
They stand strong in a fourth down. Or
fourth down
goal line.
And they had just done the first 3, so it's 7 straight plays to stand them at the goal line.
Shout out to the defense, man. Shout out to that run defense, Elmore. Those guys are getting.
Yes.
They're playing good ball.
Oh, it reminded me of Stonewall Jackson. That's who they reminded me of. Stonewall Jackson for you history buffs out there. Great. I mean, frozen, right? They couldn't get past the FRA. Was going up against Stonewall Jackson on that goal line. Okay. We get back. Because we're backed up, coach decides to run the Wildcat. Okay. That kind of gives us some breathing room. But we get stopped there. One of the plays almost broke through, Jett. I would say that third down play in the Wildcat almost got broke through.
Luke Thompson. Anytime this guy touches the ball, it could be.
You kind of hold your breath, right? Yeah. He's kind of one of those guys where could be fireworks, could be striking up the band every time. So anytime the ball is in Luke Thompson's hand, ball in the hand plus grass. That's what I like to say. Ball in the hand plus space.
A block away.
That's all it takes sometimes. But run the Wildcat. And that kind of gives us some breathing room. We punt the ball. Actually, it's for the situation, they still get good field position because we're back up on the goal line. Well, for the situation, it was actually a really good punt.
Yeah, shout out Tommy.
Yeah.
Nailed it tonight with the punts.
Absolutely.
A huge step up from last week. We were in bad spots, too. Mm-hmm. It wasn't trying to pin them deep. He was trying to get the ball out of the end zone. And, you did a great job punting that. Shout out Tommy.
So, 3 phases of the game. We always talk about that. Okay, so run the Wildcat. The FRA runs the ball. They drive down. They put a good drive together. I will say this is an NFL coach. They've got some NFL players on the coaching staff. They were efficient. They could run block well, right? That was kind of the strength of FRA from what we could see. They ran some counter and power plays well. Had some window dressing with the motion. Drove down. They scored a touchdown to go up 7-0. Jett, when we get back, we start putting a little bit of a drive together, but then we happen to fumble the ball. What are your thoughts about that? We cough the ball up, they recover, they get the ball back. How's that kind of momentum swing when you fumble? You're kind of moving, you get a little bit of momentum, but then a turnover happens, and what were your thoughts?
Yeah, turnovers always crush momentum. Turn it all the way around. Tough situation. God got hurt early on. Just a monster both ways.
You called him Le'Veon Bell at one point.
I stick with that.
Yeah.
Awesome runner. Yeah. So Gok's out. Jalen's playing a little defense because Walker Wells was out tonight. And I have a guy in there that hasn't gotten a lot of carries this season and just caught the ball of it.
Yeah.
It sucks, but it happens.
And he ended up having a good rest of the game. So he recovered. Props to him for, kind of putting that behind you. Forget the play. But it happens, right? Second game, like you point, still getting into the flow of things.
So then you look, and FRA gets the ball on the 50.
Yeah, we're back. That's kind of the theme. Yeah, And so Ngaka actually, before he gets hurt, he actually gets an interception.
Right.
But we knew he was hurt because he kind of runs straight out of bounds. He's in that shoulder sling. Hopefully he's all right, but we'll see how it goes.
Tough as nails.
Tough as nails, just like his brothers. I mean, he comes from a pack of wolves. I mean, they're just dogs all around. And so there's no doubt that if he can play, he'll be out there.
1,000%.
Okay, so then FRA kind of takes advantage, right? They go up 14-0. And then this is where things start to get weird. If you were there, if you weren't there, it's kind of hard to understand. We'll try to explain it. One of the themes is the refs. Penalties is a part of that, but also Jett, the refs kept stopping the game. They kept having issues with the clock. At one point, every time the refs kept doing this weird thing where they would seem to every time after every play they would go talk to each individual coach about something and kind of delay the game even more. Jett, what could they have been talking about? Do you know what they could have been talking about?
No.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know what they could be talking
The
about.
first couple times you're kind of like,
Okay, maybe they're just trying to figure it out.
what's going on here? But the consistent stopping of play was something I've never seen before. And if you're a conspiracy theorist, not saying I am, but tonight I might be. FRA has a small team. They're a small school. They have a small team. Almost all of their star players, offensive line and skill position, play both ways.
They're playing both ways, right?
Which is something that we've seen our guys play both ways. Cramps, getting tired. They can't afford that. They don't have a lot of guys. They're not deep. If you're a conspiracy theorist,
which tonight, Jett, is the moon was right tonight.
If the moon was right, they're slowing the game down to give FRA a chance to catch their breath.
This is allegedly. There is a chance because we're just trying to figure out why the stoppage of the game could be happening.
It's the consistency. It was something that I've never seen before, and sometimes all the stuff lines up together. Like, is this a coincidence?
The stars align. Is it a coincidence or is it not? Right? Is there about to be a Joe Rogan podcast about this thing? Right? That's kind of what we're thinking. And so, to your point, Jett, we have been to games. We've been watching football, playing football all of our lives. We've been to games where there have been bad calls. That's going to happen. That's a part of the game. You can only blame the refs for so much, right? There have been games where, but in this situation, there's been weird stoppages and clock mismanagement from an actual operational and technical standpoint. Another thing that happened is the play clock ended up going out, and so the refs were having to keep it on hand. They were having to keep their own play clock. But I will tell you one thing, out of all of my entire life of watching football, I have never seen is there was a mismanagement of the game clock, and near the end of the first half, it rolls down probably 30 or 40 seconds off the clock.
At a crucial time
as FR is driving. And we've seen this happen. That part happen before. But the white hat ref, the head ref, always gets mic'd up and tells the operator to fix it. This is the only time in a football game I've ever seen where they have left the time wasted off the clock and did not even notice it or noticed it, conspiracy theory, and just chose not to fix it. Jett, have you ever seen that? I personally have never seen it.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And it's insane when you have a bunch of fans in the stands that notice it, and the refs, that is their job to notice things like that. Allegedly don't.
Right, exactly. I mean,
it's insane.
It's insane. I've never seen that happen. For all you hunters and fishers out there, it'd be like hunting deer in the wild and seeing a unicorn, right? It's just something that you do not see, right? Okay, so a lot of weird stuff. It's hard to explain if you weren't there, but a lot of weird. I mean, it's one of the weirder games I've been to from that standpoint.
So we're talking about FRA driving the ball. Let's talk about what they were doing that was getting us.
Yeah. So what was happening a lot is the strength of their team. After watching the game last year, the strength of their team was that offensive line. Yep. Their head coach, former NFL player, played at Vandy, played on the offensive line, and so it's no surprise that their strong suit, where he focuses, is that offensive line. They're just some good old boys up there, run blocking, strong, powerful guys. So that's probably the strength of their team. So as an offensive play caller, like at FRA, you're going to lean on that strength, right? So what they kept running is kind of two base plays. They would run a GT or GH counter, which means GT stands for guard tackle counter, where both the guard and the tackle pull the other way on a counter, or a GH counter, where both the guard or the H back pull over on the pull across on the counter, or a HT counter, which the H back, who's kind of a tight end, and the tackle will pull across. So they're running that counter play a lot, and then they'll dress it up with some smoke and mirror, some jet motion, some orbit motion. They will also just run classic power, where you've got the guard pulling, you've got down blocks from the other side, you've got the guard pulling, and he's just clearing the way, almost like a bulldozer or a Mack truck you'd see driving down 65, right? He's driving right through there, and the running back simply has to have good vision and hit the hole.
And they're attacking the leverage here. So
Uh-huh.
they got guys that are coming across and hitting Franklin guys in their shoulder, clearing them out that way. And then their guys are pulling the other way, making a little X so that they can both get the leverage and block people like this instead of trying to block people.
And why that's so tough from a defensive player's perspective is you're watching your guy, you're lined up from a guy, he kind of goes away, right? So you're watching him and you're kind of watching the ball and trying to watch the play, and then all of a sudden, here comes big old 64. Yeah. Here comes big old 64 from FRA, and he's coming to clean your clock and road grade you out of there. I think a lot of construction companies around the area can watch this FRA offensive line and learn a few things about road grading and clearing out. So that's how they were driving down. That's kind of what most of the time what they were doing. They had a few wrinkles, a couple pass plays and everything, but that's kind of their base, their fundamental, their foundation, right? Okay, so clock operation happens. Then it kind of stalemates. We're at the end of the half. Joe, we go into the half down 14-0. However, it feels like the game had gone worse for Franklin than the score kind of anticipated. Props to our defense for really keeping us in the game.
100%. They were put back against the wall all night, and they fought. They fought all night. They got huge third down stops. They got bend don't break is
yes, that's right. There we go. Yeah,
I'm a defensive guy. Bend don't break is a great philosophy. Dr. Defense has been doing it forever. They're going to give up some yards. They're going to give up some first downs. But once they get in that red zone, they're going to stand strong and not give up the touchdown.
That's exactly what happened.
Led to the missed field goal.
Yeah, yes. This is one of FRA's drives that we ended up stopping them. They line up for a field goal, ends up with a missed field goal. Again, you're bending, you're letting them into the red zone, but you're not breaking. You survive. You live to fight another day.
Same with the goal line stop. So that's
two times in the first half
to where they could have scored. Could be 14 points.
Yes,
ended up with 0.
Exactly. Huge swing. In the NFL, a lot. Most defenses in the NFL nowadays live with that bend don't break. Yep. They run a defense what's called the Fangio 6. Here you go, Joe. Are you ready to talk about the Fangio 6? You might get a couple arm slaps while I'm talking about the Fangio 6. I'm going to get excited. Okay. And so Fangio 6 is named after one of the most veteran defensive coordinators in the NFL, Vic Fangio. Okay, and when he was with the Bears a couple of years ago, when they were kind of had their big season with Matt Nagy, the head coach, and Trubisky. I mean, think about that. You had to have good coaching to take Mitch Trubisky to the playoffs, right? I mean, you come on. And so he was a part of that defense, and it kind of the Fangio 6 is kind of like a quarters or a cover 6 coverage where you're playing like a lot of quarters, so everybody's backed off. And quarters coverages mean you have four DBs covering each a quarter of the field, so everybody's kind of deep, and then you've got the other two kind of coverages kind of shelled in underneath. So the whole point is to keep everything in front of you and not give up the deep ball, the Fangio 6. Because as an offensive play caller, the hardest time to call plays is in the red zone because everything tightens up. And so if your whole thing is like, hey, we can just not give up the big play touchdown. We keep them in front of them. When they get into the red zone, we'll let them get in the red zone. Everything will tighten up anyway, and we'll get a stop, and we'll look to fight the other day. Yep. So if the NFL teams are doing it, I don't blame Dr. There's no surprise to me that Dr. Defense found a way to kind of have that mindset.
We were successful in that tonight. Shout out Andrew Dixon.
Andy,
they tried Andy a couple times. He stood strong. Great.
Andy Dixon really he locked up. I also thought there was a play. Kind of a third down stop where Teagan, the middle linebacker, met this running back right in the hole where 64 was trying to rotate, and he was just stalemating them right there. Kind of to our Stonewall Jackson theme. You didn't know Stonewall Jackson was going to come up twice in this pod, did you, Jett?
I did not.
No. So Teagan, shout out Teagan for that. But yeah, there were a couple player shouts in the first.
Where are we at? Second half?
Yeah, let's go to the second half. Okay, second half, we get a stop, we kick the ball off, we get a stop, we start driving a little bit, and then here we go, naming lights, Lucas Young happens. What happens? Lucas Young happens. Jett, here's what I saw. I saw very similar, if you watched the episode last week, The first touchdown of the game, we did a little half roll, double move backside. Brewer plants his leg, gives Lucas a chance, and universally the throw is called a 50-50 ball, but in reality, when it comes to Lucas Young, 70-30. We said 70-30, but
We're bumping
it up. Give me 75-25.
We'll give him 70.
We'll give him 75. All right. So a similar play. Lucas Young, Brewer half rolls right, tosses one up to Lucas Young. He goes up, snags the ball again, and Jett, what's going through your mind when we finally kind of get some momentum and finally get in the box?
Shout out to the boys.
Shout out to the boys. What a play.
Brewer Wilson, Lucas Young. We've been watching it for 10 years at this point. I mean, it's almost automatic.
Yeah. Whether it be at FRA Stadium tonight, or if it was 7 years ago at those WNSL flag football baseball fields, that combination has been having so long. And then Lucas Young, he fired up. What fires me up is watching Lucas Young top shelf some poor corner, right? Get up, flex on him a little bit, and then point at him and give a little head tap. I mean, he was talking his noise after that touchdown, and he earned it. I mean, that's why we're bumping you up to 75-25. Congrats.
Also, shout out Brewer. He ran to the coach and called that play.
Okay, here we go. I like this.
I want to run this. I'm trusting my guy.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Lucas have great chemistry.
Yep.
Ran the play. It was the first touchdown of the night.
And I think that Brewer has a lot of freedom to do that in this offense. Earlier in the game, they took a shot to Lucas, ended up drawing a pass interference. But when you're watching the play, you can even see it from the stands where we're seeing it. Lucas and Brewer, when they kind of look at each other, they're kind of talking almost telepathically. Am I saying that word right? Telepathically. There you go. Look it up. Telepathically, they're kind of talking. You can kind of see, hey, if they see something out there, they're going to take advantage of it. That's kind of the chemistry that they have. If you can talk through osmosis, right, or telepathically, you've got good chemistry and good time with your wide receivers.
So we got a little hope here.
Got a little hope here.
One score game. Defense has been playing good all night. Offense has got a little momentum going.
And I will say, shout out to FRA. They responded. When you, as a team, one of the most important drives of the game is when the other team has a big play and you come out and you respond right back. They drive down. They throw a couple screens. I got to talk about this one play design. The screen they threw. Is that all right?
Yeah.
So this is very interesting. I wish we had a whiteboard here. But we're back. We're in our secondary studio. I know it looks like we're in a different studio. We don't quite have the funding here, so we were filming in our parents' studio last time, but parents are out of town. So hey, but we know what they say in show business. The show must go on. So here we are for you guys. Here's I'm going to try and break it down for you. They went trips right, and a similar screen, a very common screen out of that is the bubble screen, right? Kind of developed by Lou Holtz back when he was coaching Notre Dame, kind of developed this little bubble screen. And that's when the number 3 receiver kind of fades out a little bit horizontally. The outside 2 guys, they go block. The quarterback flips it out there as quick as he can to get the ball in his athlete's hands. And then your goal is to kind of try to get that edge, right? And on a good run play, 4 yards is good. So on a bubble screen, 4 yards is really all you're looking for. That's very common. So what they did, and this was a pretty cool play design, was they took the number 3 receiver and they ran him on the bubble. They took the number 1 receiver and he blocked like normal. However, with the number 2 receiver, he kind of took 1 or 2 steps out like he was going to block and ran underneath and the quarterback threw him the ball and they had a tunnel middle screen going with the offensive lineman. While that's a really cool play design is the quarterback's looking out and it's appearing like you're throwing the bubble, everybody's going to start to widen out because the whole point of the bubble is to what, Jett? Get the edge, right? And so everybody's looking to cover that edge, and he throws it right underneath, coming back in the middle. And so it was a good play design by them. And that was a big play that kind of led. And then they kind of road graded, handed the ball off. Their running back made a great kind of breaking tackles play and scored the touchdown up 20-7. What are your thoughts when we're down 20-7? They missed the extra point. What are your thoughts when we're down 20-7?
At this point, I'd love to know the time of possession because FRA had the ball all night and they ran a little. They were chipping away, like we said, bend don't break, but they're going 5 yards.
Fangio 6. The Fangio 6.
5 yards. Yeah, 4 yards. Defense is on the field all night. They're looking tired. They got a couple starters out, a couple backups in, and there's only so much you can do, and it's not all on the defense. They were tired, man. I mean, that just happens when you're on the field all night. So yeah, that's when you start to see things like missed tackles, and that's when FRA really started. The defense stood really strong in the first half. Later in that second half is when they started really kind
And
of.
that happens to NFL defenses. Just getting worn down, especially early in the season.
Even on the touchdown drive, it was a quick drive. We were going no huddle. Ended up being a big touchdown pass. They didn't get a lot of breath. So,
oh, that's true. That's a great point. That's a great point.
You got guys playing both ways.
Because guys are hurt. Gaka's down. Walker's out. Great point. We then respond with a 3-and-out, and that's tough after a touchdown drive to go with a 3-and-out. We actually decided to run the ball. We ran those quick 3-run plays. Trying to just get a drive going, trying to get an easy first down with some run plays. So we went three runs in a row, if I'm remembering that correctly. Then we punt the ball. Good punt by Tommy. And then here's where everything gets really weird, really gets into our themes. So the clock's been weird, right? We had that weird kind of penalty with the roughing the passer. But this drive comes out. They throw a quick pass. It hits their receiver in the hands, pops up, and Lucas Young snags it for the interception and starts going the other way. But, Jett, what do we see on the field, which is just a no surprise based off of the theme of the night?
Mustard on the lettuce.
Right. His Jett's catchphrase is what we see on there. And we watched the broadcaster stream copy back. This was called for what we appeared to be targeting. The reason we think it's targeting, the white hat was not mic'd up. You got to be mic'd up for the fans. You got to tell us what's going on, right? We're out there, we're screaming. Fans brought the energy. You got to help us. You got to help us a little bit being mic'd up. So we can't really understand going on. But the reason we think it was targeting was because it was a personal foul. It was 15. It was before the interception, but it couldn't have been pass interference because the ball had been touch/tipped by the wide receiver. And pass interference is called pretty much all the time, but with contact, however, it's always before. You have to give the wide receiver the whole premise of pass interference is you have to give the wide receiver the opportunity to make a play on the ball. However, if he has the opportunity to make a play on the ball and it just gets tipped and he touches it, it's fair game. You can tackle him, you can do whatever you want to him. It's fair game. And the ball was tipped, so it couldn't have been pass interference. So we assume it was a targeting call. When we watched on the TV copy, we didn't see a lowering of the head. We saw it as a clean hit from Luke Thompson. Actually, a great play by Luke Thompson.
Don't get confused. He laid him out.
Oh, it was a great hit. It was a clean hit, though. Yes.
A clean hit.
Yeah,
he did
big
not
difference.
lead with his head. He didn't lower his head. He just hit the guy hard. It's football. He hit him right it wasn't like he was coming.
Here we go. All right, here we go. If you want to demonstrate, here we go. Yeah. Do we need to stand up? I don't want the smoke. You're right. I don't want the smoke.
Clean hit. But this has been a problem. I know you guys watch football. Targeting is a thing we see called a lot when there's just a big hit.
And it's very subjective.
But it's something that we see. Then they have a replay.
College, they review it.
They look at it for 5 minutes in slow-mo.
And they can change the call.
He actually didn't lead with his head. They can change it. High school, you can't do that. So they just see big hit, flag.
Yeah.
And
that cost us. I mean, that really cost us. It's 20-7. We get a pick. Lucas has a great return. Lucas probably gets hit out of bounds, but they're so focused on the target, they probably stop watching the play. They don't see Lucas get hit out of bounds. And so Lucas makes a great play on the ball. I mean, that's a huge momentum drive, right? We score there. That takes one more touchdown, and we're winning. We're winning the game.
100%. And then it starts to feel like it's us versus the refs.
Yes, which is never right. And because I mean, we're giving credit to FRA's players and coaches. They played a great game. However, it is tough when you feel like that's against you because you feel like you're getting none of the calls. It'd be one thing if it's like 5-5 or a little bit even, or even a little bit swayed in the home team's favor. When you feel like it's home cooking, right? When you feel like it's all home cooking, that can be tough to go against and kind of tough on the team. Then it really starts to escalate. That was kind of the first real domino that fell. Next play, quarter ends. They have a 51-yard run. Andy Dixon makes a great tackle as he's coming up. The running back what appears to stomp on him a couple times, and so he's like, "Hey, you just called our guy for unnecessary roughness. Can we get a call for an unnecessary roughness?" They not only do not call the FRA player for a flag, but he gets up to argue the call, and they flag him for arguing the call.
Yep.
Jett, how common is that?
I've watched Andrew Dixon play hundreds of football games.
Yes.
Zero personal. Zero personal. So I think the outlier here is the refs, not Andrew Dixon. Great kid. He was heated. He got stomped on. I would have done way worse than the 15-yard penalty if I got stomped on.
Yeah.
But
oh man.
So yeah, penalty happens.
Yeah, what you would have done is probably NSFW, not safe for work. So we won't go into details about that. So we'll continue. So yeah, so Andy gets stopped on. They get a flag. It happens. It gets them closer. They punch it in. Right, bring it in.
Is that the one they scored or the one they fumbled?
Oh, there you go, Jett. Okay, this is where we go. Okay, so here's the whole bend don't break thing. Right. They live to fight another day. Hey, that's what I'm talking about, baby. Look, they fumble, we recover. Again, that Donnie Webb defense standing strong.
And I think going back and watching the tape, could be wrong. I think it was Andy that got that ball out. Him and T.
Think about that. Hey, we call that poetic justice, Jett. Right? That's irony. Right? That's justice right there. When
ball don't lie.
Ball don't lie. They love that, right? When you're playing, take a ball don't lie at the the guys that go to YMCA and play pickup basketball are gonna love that the ball don't lie line right there.
Tegan recovers. I think Andy forced it. So yeah, bend don't break again. They got another goal line stand.
I mean, strong.
27 points sounds like a lot. The defense played their butts off tonight.
Yes.
Backed up against the wall.
And what historical character does that remind you of, Jett? Stonewall Jackson.
You had to catch it on.
All right.
But here we go again.
Here we go.
Offense has the ball inside the 5.
Yes, backed up. I mean, there's only so much you can do. I mean,
they're trying to make plays. I mean, Brewers running around trying to make something happen.
Took some shots. We took some shots,
which I like. They just didn't have a lot of rhythm.
Yeah, right. It was hard because like penalties and turnovers. That's what happens. I mean, when the refs are throwing a penalty and everything you do, there was a couple holding calls early in the game too that just kind of backed up the drive. So it's hard to get in rhythm when you're seeing laundry all over the field.
Yeah, I know. On that drive too, Luke Thompson was over the middle. You know, I'm a big Luke Thompson fan.
Big Luke Thompson fans. Williamson County Herald. Well,
Brewer throws him one right over the middle, and he's getting tugged on. Luke Thompson, he's running past anybody.
Yeah, I mean, he just ask any track team or his Olympic track parents. Yeah.
So he's getting tugged on a little bit. Ball is right out of his grasp. Doesn't end up catching it. Brewer asked the refs, "Hey, like, can we get a call?" You know, like.
And what happens, Jett? Surprise, surprise. Spoiler alert. What happens?
If I've watched Andrew Dixon play hundreds of games, I've watched Brewer play thousands of games. 0 personal fouls. He's the first Wilson to ever get a personal foul, and he's the calmest one out of all. And I'm telling you,
let's be honest, out of all three of you were the most likely to get a personal foul.
Yeah. I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
But
I think I am tonight.
We are tonight, right?
The refs didn't like us. I don't know what it was. I think human bias is a real thing. I think the fans were getting at them early. Greg Wells told me there were some pretty fired up parents on the fence.
Here we go. That's right. Everybody loves a little bit from the peanut gallery. We love it. We keep going.
I love it. Shout out to the fans.
Yes.
Get in there.
We're here
but it just too many things happened where it was stacked up against.
It was one of those things where it's like, hey, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I thought I was going to George Bush that for a moment, messed it up. But I think that's how, again, to your point, it's it happens only so, you can only get away with it so many times before people start saying, hey, something's going on here. And so, I mean, think about that. Boom. We get the targeting call. Andy Dixon, who we've never seen get a personal foul, gets one. Brewer gets a personal foul there.
Yeah.
And it just kind of spirals from there. Go ahead.
Yeah. So then in that drive, we're punting it from our end zone for the third or fourth time.
And it's pretty late in the game. Hope is really starting to be lost. We're down 3 scores. We have to punt. And Tommy the punter, he sees kind of a little bit of flash of light. What does he do?
Yeah, so going back and watching the film too, Tommy has a little bit. This is speculation.
Speculation, because we're just watching the stream off of the FRA broadcast.
So you've seen our punt. Tommy gets the ball, and he doesn't punt it immediately. He rolls right a little bit, and he's kind of got his eyes up. And from watching games last year, there was a couple times Tommy, great athlete.
Great athlete. He's doing those.
The normal 100.
No, he is not. I mean, ever since he was in 5th grade, he's been swimming Olympic laps every morning in his grandparents' pool, and so shout out Mimi, right? Shout out Mimi. He's been built for moments
right.
like
So Tommy, I think he has a little freedom to, if you see a lane, go for it. Go
That's what you do. You give your athletes freedom.
And going back and watching the tape, in the moment, so Tommy pulls it down, ends up getting tackled short. On the tape, you can see he's got green grass.
He does, yeah. We can see what he's got. Real estate, we call it.
Number 0, starting safety.
Great athlete.
He's for FRA. Good athlete. He's on the far left side of the line. Tommy can't see him at all. And as soon as Tommy tucks it down, he makes a good play, shifts around a couple Franklin guys. Tommy couldn't have seen him. I love the play. We're down by 3 touchdowns.
Just trying to make a play.
Playmaker trying to make a play. Not going to dog him on that.
No, exactly.
It just didn't work out, guys. And that's something, it's so hard to watch because nothing went our way.
I know, it is tough.
Centennial game, some things went their way, some things went our way.
It was pretty even back and forth.
This game, it's like nothing. I mean, we had 2 interceptions called back for penalties.
Roughing the passer, personal fouls getting called just for arguing the play.
Nothing was going our way, and it was just frustrating to watch in the stands. I know you guys can relate. This is all. Things started going downhill pretty quickly. I think they scored a touchdown in a couple plays. We get another personal foul, which Greg Wells shout out again. he saw it happen.
Double shout out. Here we go.
He said it's total NBA flop. The guy got in Aiden Elmore's face.
Yeah.
And Aiden, props to him.
Props is still working on the nickname, by the way. Aiden, it's coming soon. Don't you worry.
He showed composure. Didn't touch the kid. Kid literally gets in his face. Immediately basketball flops onto the ground. Ref throws a flag.
I mean,
what do we do? Not a conspiracy theory.
I mean, I think that it was one of those games where it was kind of like the Twilight Zone. You know what I mean? Where the clock was weird. They were stopping the game. It was going on for so long. I mean, how many times and the fans can relate this, how many times were we in the stands, we're there, we're like, what's going on? This also happened. We didn't mention this. Another thing about the clock and about the little bit of the home cooking that was going on. They, at halftime, right, you have a certain amount of time for a halftime. Yeah, right.
I can't believe it.
Okay, all right, here we go. Listen, I'm going to lean in on this one. At halftime, okay, you have, I don't know, let's call it 15 minutes to make adjustments, and then so those 15 minutes are going by. We're watching the clock go down 15 minutes. Yeah, Franklin comes out.
From the player side, the coaches, they're watching. You got a guy that's out there watching the clock. He's going to come and be like, Coach, 5 minutes still half. Because we got to go stretch.
Because what the coaches are doing in the halftime locker room is they're making their second half adjustments, right? And so they're too busy trying to scheme up things to worry about the clock. So you're right. They've got a clock guy. So Franklin comes out with 5 minutes left, starts stretching a little bit. We have no sign of FRA. And we're pretty much lined up on the sideline as that clock goes down. And it hits 000s, and FRA starts to trickle out. And we're like, okay, it's 000s. It's time to kick off. Like, I guess FRA decided they didn't want to stretch. What happens, Jett? We look up at the clock. In a blink of an eye,
they just added time.
Magic the time adds to give FRA extra time to kind of warm up.
I guess if you pay $100,000 to go to school, you can just do whatever you want and make your own rules up. That's how it seems to me. But it was ridiculous.
That's another thing I've never seen. So there's 2 things I've never seen. Maybe I'm starting to become a conspiracy theorist with you, Jett. I mean, I've never seen them go down, give the own team. In a blink of an eye, it goes from 000s to gives them an extra 3 minutes to warm up. And then, and so anyway, that was just another example of how it was kind of in the Twilight Zone.
So we're seeing at this point, Franklin already has 4 personal fouls that have been called on. But it's a chippy game, both
Yes. And you know how many are called on FRA?
9.
Okay, come on, guys. You can understand what we're saying.
We see their guy pushing our guy, and you know what the ref does? He goes over, brings him in like, hey, man, you can't do that.
So he gets a pep talk.
Our guy, he gets a pep talk. Getting flagged.
Right, exactly. I guess this guy must have been a main character. I guess we were filming, it was like Troy Bolton in High School Musical. He gets treated all specially. Everybody else, he's getting a special pep talk. Everybody else, they're getting flagged. And you're right, the ref comes up and consoles them a little bit and gives them some sort of modern wisdom, back porch speech, when in reality, we'd rather take the 15 yards, you know what I mean, for our team to help our team out.
The thing that is so frustrating is we watch these kids play every single week.
I
And
mean,
they don't do like
this is
they're
not what they do.
no, they're in control. Here and there, guys get fired up. That happens with every team.
Sure,
But
right.
6 personal fouls.
I mean,
It was at least 6 personal fouls.
Uh-huh.
It's never close. Maybe one.
Mhm.
Most of the time, not even one a game.
Mhm.
So this isn't something that we see these kids do on a regular basis. And tonight, that's what the refs were calling.
You mentioned Aiden Elmore. Okay, there was a play where there's kind of a scrum, a pile, a rugby style scrum, right? Okay, so you see
Another one.
Okay, so if you use a rugby style scrum, all of a sudden, out of the ashes, we see this helmet, face mask all wobbly, go flying throughout the air. I've almost made a wish because I thought it was a shooting star. That's how much it was flying out of the air.
Helmets get knocked
It was
off.
a Frank, yes, but they don't
This
get
was not
picked up and thrown.
fly.
Right, exactly. I was like, I'm sorry, did Miles Garrett all of a sudden end up checking into the game? So we see a Franklin helmet go flying. Okay, Aiden Elmore, it's his helmet. He comes out of there without a helmet, like begging the ref, like, what's going on? And Jett, what did we not see on this play that probably should have been called?
No flag.
No flag, no
No
launcher.
Like you would think when a guy gets his face mask grabbed and his helmet ripped off his head, it would be a little bit of an issue. And it's blatant. These are things that are like,
and they were calling ticky tacky stuff on our side. Yes,
you don't take your
that doesn't happen
off
naturally.
and throw it.
Yes,
Like it's unbelievable, guys, and that's why you can always blame the refs when you lose, and we're not blaming the refs.
But we're just trying to give you the experience it was as a Franklin spectator at the game.
They changed the game.
Yes, they did.
Judgment call.
Not saying they won the game. Not saying they won the game for them again. FRA played a good game, but they did change the game. Ends up 27-7. Couple people I personally wanted to shout out. Really, pretty much the entire defense, but Teague and Luke Thompson, Lucas for both offensive and defensive, and Andy. Would you agree with those? Anybody else you want to add to that list?
I think the run defense did good. I think Santino.
Santino? Yes, Santino.
I think he did good. Him and Tommy playing outside linebacker. I think they did a good job containing. There was a lot of Jett.
Yes. A couple speed options and pitches. Yeah.
Luke Thompson comes downhill.
He's moving at it. He's moving at like a high velocity. He's moving at full speed.
I wanted to shout out the toughness for the boys too.
Yes, 100%.
A lot of guys dealing with injuries tonight. You just got tough guys all around you.
100%. I love that. I couldn't agree more. A locomotive.
Yeah,
like Luke Thompson is coming out there. Go ahead.
Wills and Lucas both made
huge plays to try to save. Yeah, exactly.
Brewer has a lot of chemistry with his receivers, and he trusts those guys to make plays. That's what they do.
Another thing to mention, FRA was kind of doing this. They were kind of playing with one of their outside linebackers doing this defensive scheme, and he was kind of really trying to time up the snap. And we thought we could see it straight down the line. A couple times we tried to time up the snap, he may have been across the line a little too early. Again, no call. On one of those plays, though, I want to shout out Brewer here. He comes scot-free. Scot-free? Scot-free. Well, scot-free. He comes scot-free off the edge. Brewer evades him, breaks out of the sack, scrambles, and makes a good throw to Wills downfield. Just so there was good coverage, was able to knock the ball out. But, I mean, again, on that play, the Franklin faithful was screaming, how is that not offsides? He's a full step across the line.
Yeah, Brewer's out there trying to make a lot of plays, and there's a lot of things they're this close on.
Yeah.
They're working through beginning of the season, new offense, new play caller. I think a lot of these things that they're just this close on, they're gonna start to click. And
right. A lot of these screens. The big thing about screens is they have to be executed very well, and that just takes times and reps out. Okay. Other scores of the game. Let's go to other games across Williamson County. Run through those scores so we can get a pulse around the nation. And my favorite segment, the lightning round. Here we go. You ready for this?
Go.
All right. We're going to start out at Brentwood, taking on BA. Brentwood falls to BA 6-16. Centennial takes on Summit, beats them 42-7.
All right. I'm not sure how many of you guys know what it takes to make the playoffs? Franklin hasn't made the playoffs since 2020, I don't think. So there's 6 teams in the region. That's Centennial, Brentwood, Ravenwood, Independence, John Overton, and
No, that's how it goes. Summit? Yeah.
Oh, not Centennial.
Not Centennial. Summit.
Centennial's not. Summit is.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
There's 16.
Okay, there you go.
4 teams from the region make the playoff. So, I think it's safe to assume John Overton's probably going to get last.
And at least that's the way it was last year.
That's the way it was
last year, yeah.
So, John Overton.
We're just basing that off of last year. That's all we're
basing off last year. So, John Overton is a team I think that Franklin can get in over. We'll say that. So then it becomes a battle between
usually like Summit. So based off of last year, Summit was the next.
Ravenwood and Brentwood are going to make
it.
Yeah. Then it comes Indy, Summit, Franklin. Okay. So it's going to be a battle between those 3 teams to get 2 spots. That score right there, Centennial Summit. Franklin beat Centennial last week. We know this.
And Centennial just put 42 on Summit, and Summit only scored 7.
Summit.
And we're also going to get. I'm going to actually, now that you mentioned that, I'm going to jump to the Indy game because Indy said you the other one. They got shut out last week. They got shut out last week and week 1. They also get shut out by Page 31-0 in this week. So that still gives Franklin sets up well for the playoffs here. Any comments on that before I continue?
Yeah, that Page Indy one's a good one. Indy's still yet to score a touchdown this year. 35-0 against Oakland is one thing.
And Page is a good program.
Pages, but they're not Oakland.
Right, they're not Oakland. Right, exactly.
Yeah, Page is a good school. They're going to be a good matchup next week. I know they have a lot of studs on the defense. So, I'm excited to see it, man. Can't wait. What we got?
We got Fairview getting a win 41-12. We got Franklin score, Franklin 7, FRA 27. Nolensville 33, Antioch 36. Close one there, barn burner. Ravenwood 48, Cane Ridge nothing. I know Ravenwood put them all in there. Cane Ridge, you got some Cane Ridge games back in the day, didn't you?
They knocked me out of the playoffs.
Didn't mean to bring up that subject. I'm sorry. Spring Hill 20. Mount Pleasant 34. BGA putting up some more points. 69 points BGA. Maplewood's 3. They may be the next like Prime Oregon Ducks here. I mean, come on now. CPA 21 takes down a close one at Pearl Cone 15. Father Ryan 27. JP2 7. FCA 10. Collinwood 31.
I'll be throwing in 8-man football.
This was on the Williamson County. This was technically in Williamson County. That's just this. Hey,
are you? Is that another?
They're friends of the program. I've also got GCA versus Trinity Christian. We're shouting about it a little bit. They're friends of the program.
All football.
GCA 7 and Trinity Christian 49. We're going to end on one final segment. A new segment I actually like to call the next town over, where we spotlight a game. That's outside of Williamson County. We're going to head over to Coffee County, where Tullahoma takes on Coffee County in the 99th annual Coffee Pot. Okay? This is a historic game, right? 99, they're about to come up on the century mark. I've actually been to a game in Tullahoma. It's an electric atmosphere. Shout out the coaches over there, specifically the Olive brothers. So for the longest time in Tullahoma, Coach Olive was their head coach. And a couple years ago, they won state for the first time, and he'd probably be coaching for 30 or 40 years, okay? And Coach Olive retired, and his 2 sons, the Olive brothers, are now the respective offensive and defensive coordinators at Tullahoma, with a great staff behind them on the offense, like Race Marin, coaching the receivers. They go into the Coffee Pot today. Needless to say, they were wired for this Coffee Pot, okay? They were energized. It ends up being a close one, a barn burner towards the end. It was 21-21, and Coffee County kicks a field goal to go up 24-21 with 15 seconds left. Ends up winning the Coffee Pot this year. But it's all right because I've been to those. I know those Tullahoma boys fought hard. I've been to the games. I then spent the evening I went to that game. We went to the local Applebee's, shared a beautiful dinner with both the Marins and the Olives, the 2 families that built Tullahoma. And so I have no doubt that they're going to come back strong the rest of the season. That's it for today's show. Jett, you got one more thing. All right, come on now, bring it on.
To the Franklin faithful,
It's week 2. We're going to be okay. It's all good. Take a deep breath. We saw a lot of encouraging things from the boys.
We did.
Nothing to worry about. We're still out of district. I don't even know who scheduled this FRA game, way back when.
I do.
Okay. I don't know who scheduled it, but it's kind of a weird game, to have on the schedule. But it's good reps for the boys. They can learn from it. A lot of encouraging things going into. They still got some time going into the rest of the season. Anything else?
Bring it against Page. Let's be loud.
All right, so
not on third down, not on fourth down.
Also, special announcement. You can find this on our Instagram. We decided that we can't go another week without talking about football. So we're actually going to release a preview episode previewing the Franklin Page game. Released probably by the time you drive to work Tuesday morning. It'll be up there. You can listen to it on your drive to work. It'll be just on the same place you can find this podcast. We're going to do a preview episode previewing the game, just so we can kind of digest this game and look on to the next one and kind of what we want you guys to know what we think to expect going into the game. So be on the lookout for that, and we will see you here. We'll see you on Tuesday, and we'll see you back here for Saturday morning. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Enjoy that cup of coffee. Have a beautiful weekend. We'll see you back next week.